We call that getting your house in order. Again, it's things you can do right away to start thinking about or planning ahead for the big event. And that is, if you're a small privately held company, run the business like it's a public business, like a public company. And what does that mean? It means having some corporate governance around decision making and compliance and ethics and standards and transparency with the team and with the business itself. Most importantly, it means maintain clean financials. Um, what does that mean? It means having it, whether they're reviewed or audited, but the last 3 to 5 years, clean financial statements, your P&Ls, your cash flow, your balance sheets, and be able to track that over time and forecast that out in the future. And one big area here around the financials that people don't understand is, as an owner operator, naturally you're running your business for personal advantage as well from time to time, whether it be distribution or tax advantages. And when we talk about operating margin, oftentimes that operating margin can be impacted by owner discretionary expenses, one-time expenses. And so we call those add backs or adjustments back to EBITDA. Have those kind of figured out over time, because a big part of due diligence when you're trying to sell a company is digging in to the quality of those earnings, to the quality of those financials, and how clear and transparent that might be, and how above board they are. And so the sooner you get on this, the more credible you will be in the marketplace. It's extremely important. And I'll talk about the due diligence items in a second. But beyond that, resolving any outstanding legal issues that you have internally or externally is a big deal. So any buyer that comes in and takes a look at the business from the outside is going to be focused in on that. So whether they're resolved or being resolved, just to be able to answer those questions clearly and cleanly. Third point, have conviction around your growth plan. So this is part of getting the house in order, is what is the business going to be doing over the next few years, and have that story solidified for any potential buyer, because you get credit for growth, right? They're buying not just what you've done, but what the future of the business might be able to deliver. So that growth roadmap is incredibly important to have fleshed out, ready to go. And finally, which again can get a little crazy and scary these days, not to discourage anybody, but preparing for due diligence. I don't care how small or big you are, institutional grade due diligence will be applied to your transaction, whether you're working with a strategic buyer or a financial one. That due diligence process has become extremely extensive over time and somewhat elongated over the last few years for every deal. And so a lot of companies don't survive this because they don't have their ducks in a row or their house in order on some of these items we've discussed. So if you do, you greatly reduce the cycles, you reduce those negotiating retrades or any big surprises or skeletons in the closet, maybe they're trying to be hidden, and you exponentially increase the chances of closing the deal at a higher valuation. Okay. And that means, again, 3 years of clean and clear books. That means building a data room of organized information, not just in your financials, but product and service, HR, organizational stuff, legal, sales and marketing, all of that kind of stuff around the business, where you can kind of demonstrate not only do you track these things and measure them, but everything is there and the buyers can quickly learn about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So these things are critically important, not only to get a deal done, but to, again, increase value. And so these things you can be tracking now and building over time. There's no need to wait until a buyer asks you to build a data room. Let's begin to gather the information and track over time. So again, you're ready to go when the time is right. And 100%, this will impact the close and likelihood of close of the deal and your valuation at the end of the day. So there are ways to kind of do this efficiently, but a big part of what we do here at Growth and Capital is to help our clients through this process specifically.